right, greetings and welcome back. This is the last day of the Elements of Art. And so what we're going to do is a quick review and then we'll finish up with a texture worksheet. So on the first day, we talked about the supplies you need in your kit or to do these worksheets. And then on Tuesday, we talked about line being our first element that we studied. We did some work in our sketchbooks, and we possibly did a little work here and submitted that to Artsonia. On Wednesday, we did this worksheet, the shape and value, and we talked about organic and geometric shapes, and we talked about a value scale. This was one that I almost completed. And you were supposed to do 3 organic, 3 geometric shapes overlapping, and then create values, at least 3 values where they were overlapping. And again, that could be submitted to Artsonia as well. Yesterday, on Thursday, we were working on the color worksheet. We talked about the primaries, we talked about the secondaries, and we talked about mixing colors. And then this was the worksheet that you were to do on Thursday. So today, being Friday, we are going to talk about texture. Now, texture is the way something feels. And we have visual texture or implied texture, which is we can get this idea in our mind that if this were an actual texture, we could feel the roughness of it or possibly the smoothness of it. And so I'm going to change the directions on this worksheet a little bit. And what I mean by that is this talks about doing these 3 and then doing some more in your sketchbook. And we're going to keep this really, really simple today, and I would like you to come up with 3 textures that you could create within these boxes right here. Now you can see there are some textures here. I'm going to go ahead and do like a scale texture here. And generally, textures are a pattern that repeats that gives us a sense of how something would feel. So if we have a scaly feeling, you can imagine that this might feel something like if you were touching a snake or a reptile. So this would be my first texture. Now, if you're struggling to find some different ideas for textures, you can look this up on the internet and say, okay, how do I draw textures? Or texture markings. You might want to put something in there for drawing, and that will give you some indication or some point you in the right direction at least. All right, so I would fill up this box with the textures of scales. That would be my first one. Again, we're going to keep this easy. We're just going to do the 3 of these. So the second one that I'm going to do, I'm going to do a pattern of like kind of barbed wire. I'm going to see if I can get the feeling of barbed wire just by creating like pointed T's. And they don't have to be in an organized pattern because this is more of a barbed wire feeling. And so this is what I would do, and I would feel this as a pointed kind of an owl feeling of texture. I don't know that I'm quite getting it across, but that's what I like for this idea. So I thought I would do that in my second one. The third one, I want the texture of wood. Well, wood has got this feeling of uneasy, or not uneasy, but lines in it, and we might even put some knots in it. If you can imagine seeing some wood. If you could come up with a way to show the texture of fur, that would be good. Maybe you're going to do the texture of glass, so you would show like lines for shimmering. There's all different things you can do for this. And again, I would encourage you to look it up on the internet if you're really struggling with some ideas here. You could even try a pattern where the lines cross like fabric. Okay? So anyway, just these 3. It should be a simple day today. Make sure you finish the entire box. So I would continue with my scales. I would continue with my barbed wire look. I might even try and get a little bit more of a point on the edges of these. And this is all we're going to do for today. You can upload this to Artsonia, and that'll wrap up the week of the Elements of Line worksheets. So have a good day, enjoy this, and also have a good weekend.